people, I can tell that they're judgmental. I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Hey there, Owen. Hey, Bryce. How you doing, bud? It's good to see you. And I got all distracted. Oh, yeah, and it's, what do you call that?
Halloween orange.
Correct. I need to change that. Let's see. And I know it's, there we go. Don't worry.
Yeah, there we go.
I know what's up. Yeah.
Got
Hey, Bryce.
it.
Good to see you, bud. So today,
Yes. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about vision and balance.
As in relation to a TBI or just in general?
Yeah, just in general. Well, this is TBI Tuesday, so
we'll tie it into the TBI. Good idea.
Yep.
Good idea.
Hey
I
there,
like that.
Holly.
Holly, what's up?
Even though this is Katie. But yeah.
Witness protection. Come on now. We're not supposed to say Holly
Oh, I mean,
out loud.
hey, Katie. Okay.
She's in it too.
Gosh.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
So, vision and balance.
Correct.
And pre-accident, how was your vision?
Pre-accident, how was my vision? That's a good question. So I did have glasses. Oh, I got a scooter right here.
Yeah.
But my vision was pretty okay. Like and that was another thing that I thought was big. I wore contacts.
So corrected vision was 2020. Corrected. Once corrected.
Oh yes.
Your vision
yes.
was 2020.
So yeah, other than that, no big deal at all.
Okay. Would you consider your vision 2020 now?
No.
Or is there a way to... Okay, well, let's get into typical vision problems. The first weird thing I remember you telling me, though, with your vision, and then I guess it was before they discovered what your vision would be like post-accident, was the fact that you were admitted into the hospital and you had on your contacts.
Oh.
Right?
Yes. Yes, I had
but
my
no one
daily
thought
wear.
about it, right?
Well, and this is kind of a funny, we can talk about a throwback. So, yes, I had daily contact wear, and they did check my eyes multiple times a day.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
just for
unconscious.
dilation, right?
Correct.
So dailies are... Did you sleep in them?
I was unconscious. So
No. I mean, prior to the accident.
prior, no.
They were not made for sleeping in.
No, they were not. It was daily, so I changed them out, and I was very good about that.
Okay. No, just because the sleep contacts are thinner and bigger, so you can actually see it on the white part of your eye.
Yeah.
So the daily, still surprised they missed it, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it was funny. It wasn't until my second hospital that they noticed it. And it was, what do I call it? In a therapy session with my speech therapist, and she talked to my mom. She was like, Mona, does she wear contacts? And my mom was like, yeah. And it was funny. I was kind of getting an eye infection. So they were treating that. So then the neurologist came and looked because I guess it broke. And so she could see like
So it was torn?
the broke part. The torn, yes. Thank you.
And that, how long of a period of time had it been between your accident and then discovering the contact in your eye?
Probably 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's...
Not good, I know.
No. I mean, it's amazing it did not do some really bad damage
Well,
to your eye.
that is true, yeah. Yep, so,
So the damage to your eyes
yes.
are all brain related. Nerve? Is it all optic nerve or just general nerve?
So, and that's when I'm like, oh crap. So now I feel like I should have, studied more and seen, because I'm like, I don't know. But yes, the thing is, like, how do you say? Okay, well, I guess I should show you. I don't know if you can see those. It's still not showing it.
You
Okay.
can't see what you're doing without them.
Yep. So, yeah, sorry.
So
So I can't see without them, but yeah, the prisms on those things are kind of massive. Like, it's quite a lot.
So I did read about prisms because you suffer from double vision now as a result of the accident,
Oh,
correct?
and yeah, so sorry, side note, I didn't think I did, and they were trying to catch me in it and say, yeah, you're double vision, you're double vision. I'm like, I don't have that. Because
So
I
how
thought
did
it
you
was like this. Like, instead of a circle, it was kind of like this.
That's how your vision was.
Yeah,
So you thought double vision is I'm going to see two of everything.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. And it's just strictly your eyes just don't line up,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, my vision, yes, yes.
Which is a form of double vision.
That's what I found out.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So you knew your eyes were worse than prior to the accident. You just like, it's not double vision though. It's just, I don't have them in my contacts.
Yeah. Well, I was just one of those, I can do it, I'm okay, trying to be tougher than I am in the hospital so they don't think I'm as bad. But I'm like, dude, you're supposed to kind of tell people. Like, I didn't even tell them about, I couldn't smell anything for 10 months. And then my first thing I smelled was my niece's dirty diaper under the kitchen table.
They threw a dirty diaper under the kitchen table?
No, it was attached to an infant.
Oh, she was under the table. Okay.
Correct. That's
well, I just
where
want to
she
clarify
liked to go, too.
things. Okay, so the double vision.
Yeah.
At what point did they just ask you if you had it, or how was it determined, or did you finally say, "Hey, my eyes are just really not what I think they should be"?
That is a good question. I'm trying to think. I think, well, one of the things I did is they made a appointment at a what do you call it?
Ophthalmologist?
Correct, something like that. So he was tied to the hospital there in San Francisco, and he was the one. He was like, "Yeah, let me try this." I was like, "Whoa!" I mean, it was like massive difference. Like,
So he was doing the lenses, which is better, A,
well,
C, that,
Yeah.
or
yeah, it was kind of, except no, not really. He just put me on the where it looks into your eye, I think, and then he kind of fiddled around with someone just like this, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It was like going from craziness to pure clarity like that. And I was
Okay.
like, "Oh, I want that."
So prior to going to this ophthalmologist, were you already wearing a patch? Because I know I've seen pictures of you in the hospital when you were wearing a patch.
Yes, yes, I was. I was wearing a patch for as long as I can remember. And with that patch, actually, I switched every day, one or the other, because they didn't want one eye getting way better than the other eye.
And did they ever explain what the purpose of wearing that patch, what it was supposed to do? Did they think it was a muscle issue and it was retraining or re-strengthening a muscle?
I think it might have been. I cannot tell you with certainty exactly, but I remember they said they didn't want me to have one eye build up or get stronger.
Okay.
So,
Because what I've read from like with double vision, and I guess it can be caused by various things, it's the way the lights come into your eyes, and they're not like, instead of coming in straight,
yeah.
so there's one that forms the one image. One light might be diffracted and either go up, which will cause a double vision with the extra image on top,
Yeah.
or it could be over to the side or underneath.
Yeah.
And then the prism redirects that light so that you can just form the one.
And we'll see. That right there tells me. I'm
That's
like,
my PhD,
See, yeah, PhD? What is that?
doctorate of Google.
Oh, well, there you go.
Thank you, Paul. You
Yep.
gave me that title.
Yeah, awesome.
I've earned it well.
But yeah, that is one thing actually that I could not figure out. I'm like, I don't get why. Why is it? Why does this happen? I thought it would all just get better.
Yeah, see, I did a project in the 5th grade on eyesight. Double vision was not on my radar back then. It was just
Yeah.
nearsighted versus farsighted. But still, it's just a matter of how light comes in and how your eyes register that light. Because if you're nearsighted, yeah. So if you're nearsighted, your eyeballs are bigger. So when that light comes in, it's focusing too far forward.
Really.
If you're farsighted, it focuses behind the eyeball itself.
Oh, really?
So with the glasses, they just bend the arc of the light and get it where it's supposed to be within the eyeball. So prisms are doing pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
but it's lining up your field of vision.
Gotcha.
So now with your glasses,
Yes.
do you have 20/20 now?
Ish. So 2020. Well, once again, I'm like, how do you say? I went to an ophthalmologist. It was probably a year ago, and
Oh, it was pre-pandemic, right? Or was it pandemic?
pre, I think. Yeah. So, gosh, and I lost that prescription. So I'm like, well, crap. So, but basically, I thought I was dying. Well, not dying, but I was going blind, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
And why did you think you were going blind? I forgot what.
Just in the golf cart, like going through, what do you call it, like shadows and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't see anymore. So I was, how do you say it, like just making it worse or talking it up, thinking it up. This ties into overthinking. But
Well, no, I think everybody does that when it comes through to any kind of health issue you might have.
yeah, and I've tried so hard to be like, I'm good, I'm fine. But I'm like, oh my gosh.
No, because I'm really good at telling the other person you're overreacting. You're not going blind. It's not cancer. But no, if it's me, oh yeah, I've got like 3 months to live. You know,
totally
prior to even
different.
seeing a doctor.
Yep.
So,
Gosh, yeah.
so it ended up. It just you had a slight change in your prescription for your glasses, right?
Yes, actually, that's what I should say. Yeah, it was just a slight change, and she did say, because she wasn't specialized. Where was the place?
Emory.
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 Oh, Emory. Okay.
Yeah.
And she said there's somebody in her practice who really, really specializes in prisms. So she wanted me to see him. So.
And I wonder how these prisms work, because I remember when you had that sticker thing
Yes.
on your glasses that were just fine lines that you could see, but only on one lens, not on both, correct?
Correct. And that was me being I thought it would get better. So it was basically a temporary fix.
Oh, gotcha. I gotcha. Okay. No, well, I get that. With your glasses, you do see just one image of something when you look at it.
Yes. So I'm thankful that things have helped immensely.
And if you take your glasses off, how do things line up for you?
Not well. I mean, I don't know other than they get fuzzy, but yeah. So I can't say.
Well, look at something. Look at the camera. Is it just the one lens, or do you see like?
I know it
they're not
is
lying.
one.
You know it's one. They're just not
correct. Yeah,
formed into one.
I think maybe that's because I just know.
Right.
Maybe, but yeah, your mic's like if I was going over here, I see it like this, you know.
Okay, I thought you said something was wrong with it. Okay. Nope. So if you close one eye, can you see okay? You see just one image?
Yes.
Because I noticed, Mom had double vision. I have no idea why.
Yeah.
I know a lot of times I'd walk into her room, whether she was reading or watching TV, because she had prisms.
Yeah.
Chose not to wear them for whatever reason.
Tiny prisms.
Yeah. Hers was not nearly as bad as yours. But that's how she ended up managing, was having to close one eye.
Really? Yeah.
So she could just see.
Yeah.
Although there were a lot of times, like when she was looking at me, she used to say, gosh, I wish I had 3 eyes so I could see even more of you. Because without her glasses, she could see 2 of me, which is good.
Yep. Oh, yeah. See him, but okay. Sorry, the dogs are going nuts. And I think I just dropped my what?
Dropped your what?
Earpiece. But anyways, so yes, we want to see all the more of you. Yes. Oh, Turner.
Probably.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
He is. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are just walking in the house. Hey, Turner.
Oh boy. Yep.
So okay. So then pretty common with a brain injury, double vision.
Correct. Yes.
But not. I mean, I know all brain injuries are not the same. They're all different because the brain is such a complex organ. But is it almost a guarantee or not necessarily?
No, not necessarily. And once again, I haven't done research on it, but like some of these people, it was funny when I first got out of the hospital and they wanted, or people were trying to encourage me and, hey, go check out these groups, TBI groups on Facebook and stuff. I did, and this book and stuff, and I ended up throwing the book across the room and rage quitting the Facebook thing because I'm like, I can't even drive.
Oh, this was the woman that had the concussion?
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, I don't want to judge people. Everybody has their own things, but I'm like, I can't even live it. I'm like, granted, I can. I'm thankful, but I'm like, I can't even drive, and you complain about that? Like,
but you have since learned you can't compare because,
yeah.
I mean, I could have something happen to me that to me is just absolutely devastating that another person could experience the same exact event and it not even really show up on their radar.
And this is something almost 6 years later. Yes, I can't say that I'm there, but I'm getting better about.
I mean, I know it's got to be difficult. I mean, it really would. I mean, and it's all. I don't want to say it's like feeling sorry for yourself, but I know a lot of times when I'm feeling down, it's always just concentrating on the negative.
Yeah, yeah.
Which just doesn't help. But at the time, that's where my mind wants to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that happens.
It does. It does. Okay, so it may or may not, double vision may or may not happen, but typically with prisms, it can be corrected and you can see fine. And
yeah. Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'd like to definitely throw out there is like, it's okay, you know, if you've just suffered a TBI and you're like, oh my gosh, can't see right. It can be corrected. It can be like helped, like aided. Like that was one thing for me. That's huge. Like being able to see things, it's important. So don't give up hope, you know. But yeah, it can be helped.
So I imagine then with the TBI, like your olfactory nerve was affected for a while, correct? But I wonder with that, like auditory nerves, if people have issues with that.
Well, and it can be an olfactory nerve. What that is, it's kind of like in your nose. But when I talk about I couldn't smell for a year, for about 10 months, that is it. It like my brain or whatever got so swollen, and that only affects like 10% of the population who get TBIs. Like, so I'm one of the lucky ones. But yeah, thankfully that came back. And yep, see, and Bryce is with me there. Don't give up hope.
Yeah, you can't.
Yep. So yeah, like I said, olfactory nerves is one of those very minute happen to other people. Mm-hmm. And yep, totally forgot.
Oh. Okay, no.
Okay.
Well, hearing. If the same could happen to someone's hearing, I wonder.
Yeah, so in that, I think is a possible thing. Like it does, I say get better. I don't know where, it depends on what part of your brain I do believe is injured.
So the swelling could cause a temporary hearing change, or if there's nerve damage within somewhere where the auditory nerves are, then it could be permanent.
Yes, correct. So
it may be corrected or not.
Yes, and that was the thing for me, just where I hit my head. Like I had a helmet on when I was riding my bike and I hit here, but I had my strokes, can you see back here? So it's kind of interesting, and once again, it's different for every person. But it was like they worried about me with left neglect. Like that I would worry and go too far over or something like that. So that was a big part of my therapy. I remember second hospital was watch her left neglect, like she'll veer off or, you know. Mm-hmm. So I was like, and one of my other friends. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, speaking of strokes, when I used to wait tables, we had this couple that came in once a week, and the husband had a very debilitating stroke. He could still walk, but had to use a cane, and he was all stooped over. He looked twice his age as a result of the stroke. He drooled a lot. And whenever they came in, I would say hello to him, but then the rest of my conversation would be turned to his wife.
Yeah.
And they'd been coming in for several weeks. And one day I was watching there with another couple, and he was talking.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, how prejudiced of me to assume
Yeah.
that he was not able to communicate just because he looked different than his wife looked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And from then on, I went to him for his orders, and, he was very difficult to understand, but still I would hold a conversation with him. But yeah, I felt terrible.
Yeah.
Really
Well,
bad.
once again, it's kind of like so many of us do not experience, what do you call it, like these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you were able to see that, though.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was definitely a good lesson.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And actually, talking about that ish, like there was another thing. Well, they were trying to get me to go to a CNS. It was something cognitive. I forgot what it was, but basically my insurance said no. And I'm like, ugh. But basically I saw videos with like people with helmets and drooling. And I'm like, I can't be that. I'm like, seriously? And so, yeah, I'm being a baby. I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
no, I can't do that. But whatever, didn't happen anyways.
It just shows the strength of those folks, though, that just fight
Yep, yep,
with all they have.
yep. And yep,
Get
that
to
is
whatever the other side is for them.
definitely true. Yep. And yep, I'm like, yeah, I respect anybody, who goes through it, especially being on this side, this far down the line. I was like, I thought I'd be done in a year. I'd be back out in San Francisco. I'd be coding. I'd be making it. And now coming up on 6 years, I'm like, oh.
But if you think about it, I mean, you had to relearn how to breathe, how to eat, how to walk, how to talk, almost just like an infant. And that certainly doesn't happen in a year's time for a child.
Well, that is true. I'm like, but I got to. Yeah.
Well, maybe it was a bigger push that you needed for yourself to.
Well, and that's something that many of the nurses and therapists have said is that, hey, you pushed hard.
Right.
You.
But I wonder, can you cross that line? Can you, be pushing that hard because you want to see results in a year, but then that year comes and they're not there? Does it become an emotional setback?
So,
You weren't listening.
emotional
Oh.
emotional setback can it become? So basically, I'm sure there is some point that it would be in. I can't just justifiably say, oh, I never suffered. I never had a problem. I was good. No, I remember exactly two. I know one that I broke down. I'm like, when I finally realized, oh, okay, I'm not going back to San Francisco. And I just remember being in my parents' backyard crying my eyes out because I'm like, oh my gosh,
Right.
And so that was quite a
Kick in the teeth.
yes. So but well, thanks to you, like I was telling Doc when I was talking to him last night, I'm like, I never would have thought my life would turn out or anything. I'm like, my life is over. Like when I was in the hospital, I'm like, I had just broke up with my girlfriend the day before, and I'm like, who's gonna want me now? I can't even do anything. I can't even walk. What? So I think it's hilarious. Well, awesome. But I'm like, I moved up to Peachtree City to, see if I could do it. Like, as far as my parents wanted to see if I could, what is it, a contributing member of society, pay my bills, and stuff like that. But
And you could.
yeah, and so thankfully, as I was walking my dog, my Black Lab Survivor,
Our black lab.
our Black Lab. I see this girl come by on a golf cart, rainbow flag. I'm like, dude, that's cool. What am I saying? Hey, nice flag. But thankfully, I got to meet her a week later.
Fate was not finished.
Correct. And I met,
Or either we were slow.
well, something like that. I met my wife. Well, I did not meet you. I saw my wife along the golf cart path here in Peachtree City.
It's certainly not a city that you would go around expecting to find a girlfriend if you're a lesbian.
Oh, gosh. That was another thing. I'm like, dude, I got out of the South as fast as I could. Like, when I got my job in San Francisco, I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm out of the South. But then I was like, oh, crap, I'm kind of getting old. I should think about somewhere to go. But I'm like, I don't want to go to the South. And then my parents brought me back to my hometown, which I'm thankful for, but it was in Florida. North Florida is more like lower Alabama. So, and then I move up to Georgia, but Peachtree City with 100 miles of paved trail. So,
And here we are.
Yeah, and I was so excited because I could drive to Starbucks, get my coffee, drive to grocery store, get that. And, I'm like, I got this.
Yeah, you were doing really well because you had joined that group where you were training Survey.
Oh, yeah. And I
You
was
joined
able
the
to
church.
train her to be a service dog.
Right. So, I mean, you were living your life here until I interrupted.
No. Invited you in, and now it's even better.
Yeah. What, 3.5 years now?
Wow. You
Since
see
we
that?
first met.
I'm like, what?
We can say pre-pandemic. We met
Oh, yeah.
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic. Oh, and thanks,
Oh,
Bryce.
that's nice.
Lovely story. It is my love story.
It is. It is.
You
It is.
know-
It's a good story, I think.
And yeah, I mean, stuff happens, and that's really what I want to make sure I get across. It's like, hey, stuff happens in life all the time. I mean, you've had things happen in your
Oh,
life.
yeah. And just look for the positive,
Yeah,
hope for the best, and fight for the best, and certainly fight for yourself.
correct. Like,
Get through it.
yeah, don't give up hope. I can say it over and over. I'm like, you can do it, though. I mean, just keep on fighting, keep on going. It's possible.
Yeah, most anything is possible. I mean, sure, there are some limits that people face for various reasons, but the only limit is what you put on yourself.
Correct. Yeah.
And I think as humans, I know for a lot of us, we do that every day. We limit ourselves every day.
Yeah.
Fear does it to us. Anxiety does it to us. Society does it to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you just got to keep fighting.
Yeah. I remember there was a time that I was like, well, I'm disabled, so I could just sit on the couch, drink beer, and get fat and watch TV. Just nothing. I'm like, hell no. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to. But, I mean, so I'm not at my best yet.
No, but you were living your best life.
Well, yeah, I believe the best that it could, and am still trying
Right.
to improve.
Yeah.
So, and I think we help spark that in each other.
We do. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
So I'm
I'll talk to you later. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
right. Uh-huh.
You're my spark for sure.
Spark.
I'll start calling you Sparky.
Oh boy, there we go. Sparky. That's what I am, huh?
Yes.
Oh boy.
So do you want to go on to
San Francisco?
not today, I don't know.
I'm like, yeah.
Balance.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Short-term memory there.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not the only one.
No.
Huh?
And then aphasia too, because I couldn't think of the word.
Oh, yeah. Well,
You're rubbing off on me.
the aphasia, I got it, and I can spread it. I'm just kidding. Yes. Go ahead.
So you do have an issue with balance.
Correct. Yep.
And I know we've talked to other people who have had some sort of brain injury or trauma, and they as well have. Oh, I can hula hoop.
Oh yeah, I was about to say.
Did you ever try the
She-
thing I got?
I
That little
think I
one
did.
that-
Yeah,
Could you?
but yeah, ish.
Yeah, because the big ones I can't do. Balance
big-
or no balance.
Gosh. But yeah, we should do that. And let me bring this. I think it's gonna come up right away. But okay. No. Oh wait. Oh,
Is it loading?
it's nah. It's not on the top. And oh, there we go.
That's it.
So oopsie. So there we go. Sorry, babe.
That's okay. It's okay.
So I am very happy to say, oh well, I got my dream bike. I was gonna get my dream bike the week after I had my injury, my accident. I mean, I'm like, what? But then I finally got it. There's only 2 coming into the country, and one was already spoken for. But
This was
they
back
were
in
able-
2018.
Correct. Yeah. So it was way back. But then I got that, and I was like so excited. So
And can I interrupt?
go ahead.
Because we were together when you got the bike.
Correct.
We had just met. And we went and picked it up and brought it home. And I mean, you were ecstatic over this bike.
Yeah.
I was petrified. I was terrified. I was scared. Because in my mind, I just saw you falling and hitting your head again. And even with the helmet, I mean, you've already proven it once.
Yeah.
Bad things can happen.
Yeah.
And I implored, okay, if you're going to ride or if you want to try it, fine, but on the grass, not on concrete.
Yeah.
So we brought the bike out of the garage and
It looked good.
did you ride though?
Do you want to tell the story?
Well, you did your butt get firmly planted in the saddle or no?
Okay. Well, what happened is we both. Oh, I guess I should move this off now. Or there we go. So we're both going. So she has a bike. Yay! And now I have this. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome. So and you got going first, and then I get going, and I'm like, what? Yes, I did have a helmet, but still, I was like devastated. It was like everything came down on me. I'm like,
Because you now have a dream bike that you can't ride. Is that
correct?
that
Yeah.
was the issue?
Well, I mean, one of the issues, many. I'm like, I had dreamed for years about this bike, and then had the accident years more. I'm like, I want to do this, and then like in that moment, crap, my dreams. Well, what did I think? Are like taken away from me because I can't even do this thing of ride. So
Well, and from there we got a smaller bike. I don't know if you remember. We took the pedals or had the pedals taken off,
yeah.
but it was one that if you sat on the seat, your feet still touched the ground.
Yeah,
remember
we
that?
call that our balance. My balance.
Your
bike.
balance bike.
Yep.
I was still scared of that one because as long as your feet were on the ground, that was fine. But I just had these visions of you coasting down a hill with your legs up and thereby not being able to balance and falling again.
Yeah. Really.
So I was glad to see that bike go.
Really. Well, it was kind of a nice horse.
It was. And then we transitioned to adult balancers, they're called. They're like training wheels,
Yeah. So
but they're made
base-
for people that have balance issues. And they're not
Correct.
the little bitty plastic wheels. I mean, they're not quite normal size tires.
yeah.
But they're nice enough size tires that and it works like a trike. It doesn't all three back tires aren't on the ground at the same time. The other two just touch if the bike kind of wobbles.
Yeah.
And even with that, I was not happy.
Really.
No, because and the main reason when Lucy was little, she got a trike for
Yeah.
Christmas or a birthday or something, and she was a little scared of it, and she was like, She was so scared she was going to fall.
Yeah.
And I said, "You're on a tricycle. You cannot fall."
Yeah.
And that's the first thing she did was she fell over.
Gosh. And
So I know
you
it can
were
happen.
just like,
Yeah, and I was scared that was going to happen with you.
really?
Yeah, and I certainly didn't want to see you injured again. And
Yeah.
then to have to face your family, I would feel responsible, but that I allowed it. Although, I mean, it was your choice, not mine. But
Yeah.
I did kind of express my feelings with it.
Oh, really? What did you say?
That I didn't like it. That it scared me. That because you wobbled a lot
Yeah.
with it.
It is
So
true.
it was kind of frightening.
Yeah.
To watch that. What are we doing?
Sorry, I'm trying to get the picture, which, yeah.
Just hold up the phone to the camera.
Well, I can, but want to do this. There we go.
Okay.
So we'll try that.
There we
And,
go.
yep.
So that's the type you had.
So yes, oops, I can't. There it is.
Sure, that's 290.
Yeah.
See, even that picture, it looks like all three wheels are on the ground. It's hard to tell
Yeah.
so much with that back one. But
yeah.
yours didn't do that. It was, depending on how the bike was rocking, which of the spare tires hit the ground.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, yes. I kind of had a bit of a, what do you call it? Mess. But
And then you did have the recumbent bike, and you actually cycled that one for the AIDS life cycle from San Francisco to L.A.
did. And let me just bring all
You're going
these
to
over.
bring up the...
Yep.
Because all of these are
this-
alternatives for folks who want to get out and ride, whether it's just by themselves or with family members or just to be active or enjoy riding. These are items you can purchase. And like this is a kit that's on the tricycle or the trike that's posted up here now that you can purchase.
So-
I think we got ours at Amazon, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this one.
Yeah, that was your.
All right. So here, yep,
See, this was
this
just a
was
standard
the-
bike.
eyesore.
Yes, yeah, but it's like a kid size.
But
So your
balance,
feet
yeah.
could
yeah.
hold them to the ground. No pedals. You'd have to
Yeah.
walk it.
Yeah, so that was balance bike, and now here we go. My
Recumbent.
I was very excited about that.
And that one, there's no fear of falling.
Yep.
Although there is the fear if you don't have that flag. And cars are a danger to bicycles anyway. But
run you over.
But then when you have one that's so low to the ground that brings you low to the ground.
Yep. It's not
Right. It can
awesome.
be. You have that
And
glider thing?
the what do you call it?
The one like LJ had
Yeah,
first off.
yeah.
What's
Oopsie.
it called?
And did I? There we go. So there's me on ALC, by the
Yeah.
way. So that's cool. So now the one, oh gosh, see, this is the
What's this
fun.
called? Do you remember what those are called?
What?
Because you remember the girl that we did the questions with that's on TikTok?
Oh yeah.
She has one now.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Because it's supposed to kind of, I mean, it's something that you can actually ride or, I mean, it's pushed with your feet as well, right? There's no pedals, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So what is it? See, now I forget.
I forgot what that's
So-
called.
No. Yep. So this, yep, forgot what it's called. Oh, we can zoom in. Revolution.
Really help.
Yep. So yeah, I forget what it's. See all these things I should have looked up. Oopsie.
Yeah. And I had the
But-
name when I pulled the picture up on the internet, and I forgot what it's called. But I know LJ, that's what she started with.
Yeah.
And
yep.
she's the woman, I think we've talked about her briefly before. She's in
Yep.
New Zealand. And a
Yep.
month after you, she was
yeah,
hit and run accident.
exactly a month after my accident.
Right. She was it was a hit and run, and she suffered a traumatic brain injury. And she
Yeah.
was a competitive cyclist.
Yeah.
I mean, just really, really, she moved to New Zealand
Yeah.
so she could cycle more because she was from Germany.
Yeah.
So she started out on this bike,
Yeah.
and it was through Elche that we found out about your most recent bike.
Correct. Yeah. To
She-
build the back.
Right, yeah, because she's on the
New Zealand, right?
right, but what's the Olympics?
Paralympic.
Yeah, the Paralympic team in New Zealand
Yeah.
for cycling racing,
Yeah.
and she does it on the bike that you first showed on the screen here, the big 3-wheeled bike,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yep. So,
Because
yep.
it's lightweight.
Yep.
I mean, it's a little bit heavier, obviously, than a normal bike because of the kit to give you the extra tires. But
Yeah.
still, it's very lightweight. I mean, you pick it up very easily.
Yep. Yep. It's very light. So thankful for that carbon frame. I'm like, oh, yeah.
And it gives you a chance to get out and do something you enjoy.
Correct. Yeah.
I know you had... you weren't sure at first. You seemed to be like you were going to be self-conscious if you bought the bike and the kit.
Yeah.
You know, that people would be looking at you because you're not on a normal bike. Do you remember?
Well, yeah. I mean, I definitely was self-conscious about the what did I call that?
The trike one?
The training wheels. I'm like, but yeah, I think even with the trike, I'm like,
I think it's a cool looking bike.
are gonna be like, what? She like a toddler? She can't even ride a real bike, you know? So,
Yeah, but who cares what people think?
well, basically, yeah. When it got down to it, I'm like, there is nothing. Well, I think than experience the wind in your face and like the freedom I feel being able to do things on my own power, like myself ride around. I mean, and that was a big thing about actually moving to Peachtree City is over 100 miles of paved golf cart trail. I'm like, dude, I can bike on that, you know?
Yeah, it's a multi-use path. Yeah, cycling, runners, walkers,
Yeah.
skateboards, you name it.
Yeah.
Your balance issue, is it a nerve problem that causes it?
That is another good question I should have looked up.
Because I know
But-
part of what yours is, you had the paralysis you suffered on your left side that almost 100% back. I mean, you can walk and everything else, but like you've got some limited mobility in your arms and
Correct, yeah.
and I guess your leg as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that could be perceived as balance,
Yeah.
when you're out and about walking around because it makes things a little bit difficult for you. But there's also the issue of balance itself, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, and that I think has something to do with brain or maybe the ears. Like it is something that yes, I will always unfortunately have a problem with. That
There's
I
some
know
sort of connection not being made.
Correct, yeah. So something there. Yeah. So and yeah, by the way, just to say again, my injury was a diffuse axonal injury, which is basically the adult version of shaken baby syndrome. And what it is, it shears, basically cuts the connections.
The axons.
So yeah, so I used to be a programmer. I still have that somewhere up there, but I just can't make the connection.
Yeah, because those sheared axons will not grow back, right?
Correct, yes. they
So
will
it's a matter of your brain finding new ways to transport the information.
Correct. It has
New
a
pathways.
new path, you know.
Okay.
So, yeah. And that's one of my friends, Keely. She was so sweet. She's, because I worried about being stupid. I'm like, I can't be. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I was never brilliant, but I mean, I was fairly intelligent.
Above average.
Yeah. And well, we'll go to that later. But, I mean, I worried that I could not think anymore, could not do stuff. And so what I'm learning is, you know what? It's not that I can't hear things or all this. Sometimes I just need a little bit longer to process. So I'm like, all right, Obs. Not stupid.
No,
Just
not at all.
Slow-ish sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, and it depends on, I think a lot of that depends on, too, how closely, and not saying this in a negative way, but really how closely have you been tuned into the conversation or you know, like if it's something we're watching on TV, you might ask me, what did they just say? Because you're not processing it quickly enough as they go on to their next line. But it could be because just prior to that, your attention may have been diverted.
Correct.
You know, so it's which happens to all of us.
Distractions is a big thing.
Right, right. So with your balance issues, how much more difficult is it for you to walk without your glasses on with the double vision?
That was a good question. I can't say with certainty, but I'm like, there's a few times that I went up the stairs. And by the way, we don't have a full set of, or one story of stairs. It's broken up into 6 and 8 steps. I counted, but I'm like, if I don't have my glasses, it's kind of like, I got to be slower. And
is it because just trying to see the steps?
I think
I mean, because it's like when I first got bifocals, going up the steps was not a problem. Going down was an issue because looking down, I could see part of the steps through my lens that was used for distance.
Yeah.
And then I could see the other part of the step for the lens used for close-up stuff.
Yeah.
And I got to where I would just take off my glasses to go down because I felt safer. So is it, you think something along those lines possibly?
It could be that is something, once again, I haven't thought of like myself, but yeah, I don't know.
So steps would be your biggest obstacle without your glasses on and with your balance issue, you think?
I don't know. That was one thing when I came back to Florida after the hospital. It was funny. We went out to the beach because we live right there on the beach. So we went out with my sisters and stuff, and they were like amazed. I just went up and down the steps. So there was no problem, and it was probably like a two floor thing from the boardwalk to the beach. And I was like, oh yeah, I got no problem. I need to have a rail, but yeah, I can go up and down because my therapist, Gaylord, he made sure I had practice with steps.
And that's somewhat interesting because you did not have steps at your house.
Well, but he was trying to get me ready for my apartment, which I did.
Okay.
You know, our apartment was above a Jewish deli.
Because I know I've been like when I had my hip replaced and with Mom when she had both knees replaced, 2 separate operations for her. But, you know, they were like, do you have steps in the house? And for Mom, yes, we do, but she does not go up them, so it's not an issue. Yeah. So they would show her how like to step up on a curb, you know, the proper way for doing that, but did not go forward with, okay, this is, which now thinking about it, I mean, you might run into stairs. Why not just?
Well, it's one of those things you might, but I believe, thankfully, they've made things more accessible.
Right.
So I'm like,
well, you might go to someone's house though, and just to get to their front door might be 5 steps.
Oh, well, something like that I do believe you need to do.
Yeah.
But other than that, nah.
Or just don't go to their house.
Well, there's always that. Yeah. So.
Okay. Anything else?
I do believe that's it.
Okay.
Just there's always a way around it or through it.
This solution.
New way of doing things.
Right.
Yep.
You just got to find what works for you.
Correct.
In your situation.
Yes. So just remember, you matter, your story matters, you belong here. Cheers.
See you guys. Thank you for watching.